Lotion dots are tiny lotion bars that you use like hand and body cream. They melt as you massage them into your skin and they protect and condition it with nourishing oils. All they are is a lotion bar recipe that you pour into tiny silicone cavity molds. They're perfect for portion control for traveling or keeping in your handbag. Let me show you how to make them using a non-greasy lotion bar recipe.
Hi, I'm Tanya from Lovely Greens, and I share DIY skincare and soap making recipes that you can make from the comfort of your kitchen. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and that way you will see more inspiration as it comes out.
This lotion dot recipe makes 255 mini lotion bars. It includes beeswax, mango butter, avocado oil, colloidal oatmeal, and lavender essential oil. It takes about half an hour to make, and the recipe fits the silicone mold perfectly. Once made, you can use them immediately or store them for up to a year.
Together, the ingredients create these tiny single-serving lotion bars that, when they're in storage in a jar or container, they hold their shape, they don't melt very easily, but as soon as you start rolling them around in your hands and massaging them in, they start to soften, they start to melt, and they leave a really lovely, protective, but non-greasy finish all over your hands and your skin. The wax, the oil, and the butter are the main ingredients in this recipe, but there's also a couple of extra additives. Lavender essential oil mainly adds beautiful scent, but it has its own skin beneficial properties. Colloidal oatmeal is a very, very fine grade of oatmeal that you can't make at home. It has to pass through a very fine mesh. And what makes it special is that it dissolves completely in formulas, and it adds silkiness, moisture retention, and is also very protective to your skin. If you would like, you can leave the essential oil and the oatmeal out of the recipe. They're not essential to it. And if you would like to make this a vegan version, you can leave the beeswax out and replace it with candelilla wax. And if you do that, it is much harder wax, so you need to use less of it. So about half to 2/3 as you would beeswax. And also, you might note that there's no preservative in the skincare recipe because it does not need one. You would only use a preservative when there's water in the formula. And so crack on, no preservative, simple ingredients. This is a fantastic recipe. The full details are down in the video text description, along with links to where you can get some of the materials. And I also have a printable recipe, so you can print this out. And that way you can work from that and save it for later. And I'll put a link up on the screen to where you can find that. Now, let's get to making it. Powdered ingredients have a tendency to clump up when you add them to skincare recipes. And so to stop that from happening, we're going to begin by putting a little bit of the avocado oil in with the oatmeal and then stirring it until no lumps remain. The rest of the avocado oil goes in the pan with the beeswax and the mango butter. Now we need to melt these oils, and instead of putting them directly on a heat source, we're going to instead create a double boiler by putting a pan filled shallowly with a bit of water on the heat source and then putting this pan in that. And so the heat distributes through the water. It doesn't scorch the oils, it helps to preserve them, and it keeps the temperature slightly lower. And so now we just need to stir this and let it melt. And I like to move the oils around in the pan. It just helps to speed things up, especially if you can break the butters apart. It's only been about 5 minutes for it to completely melt. This is a pretty small batch. And so now that it's completely melted, I'm going to take it off the heat. So I'm going to remove this and put it on a pot holder. This is going to start solidifying fairly quickly, and we don't want that. We want some time to work with it. So we're going to quickly add the additives. So we've got the essential oil. This is lavender essential oil. In it goes. And then the bit of oil that has the oatmeal in it. We're going to scrape as much out as possible and then stir it in until it's really evenly distributed. And we're going to work quickly because, yes, it is carrying on solidifying. So next, let's get our mold out. This is such a large and flexible mold that it will be impossible to relocate if you need to. after pouring these little lotion dots. And so I have put some baking parchments into this tray, and so I can lift this up later on. Now filling this is a bit tricky. You pour it more towards the middle, and then you're going to need to scrape it into the sides. So let me just pour this all on. You can see it wanting to escape there, so you've got to scrape it back. And the baking parchment is such a saver of material too. So if you get some on the paper, it's easy to scrape it off, scrape it back into the pan, and then use it to make more lotion dots. You can either scrape all the excess and remelt it like I've done, or you can use a heat gun and then try to fill as many of these cavities as possible. Manually pouring and scraping into these tiny little cavities will only get you so far. Now, I've managed to fill every single one of these cavities, so the recipe fits this particular mold perfectly. However, you can see that they've solidified to a really uneven finish on the other side, and that's from me scraping back and forth. This is probably going to happen to you too, and there's two things that you could do. You could either use a heat gun and just blitz this on the top, get it to all melt so that it goes back into each of the cavities, or you could pop this into the oven on low heat, and that's what I'm gonna do. If you use the oven method like I have, you can either turn the oven off and leave them to cool inside, or you can bring them back out on the counter and then scrape anything that's melted back into those other cavities. And then this should firm up with a nice smooth finish on the backs of each one of these little lotion dots. The lotion dots are finished when they have basically firmed up enough to be able to take them out of the mold. And you can see all around the edges here, the stuff that has spilled, it has solidified. And I can save this, melt it down, and make that into more lotion dots. So I'll just leave that aside on the paper. And this mold is marketed for pet treats and gummy drops, and it comes in all different shapes, but the size is about 1 gram, which made it really easy for me to formulate this recipe. And all I need to do is pop them out of these molds. They come out really easily, and it is so satisfying. And I've seen these in square and circular, but the heart is just lovely, isn't it? You can store lotion dots in all kinds of containers, in glass jars, in other types of cosmetic jars, these metal tins. I use these mainly for salves and for body balms. Also these small ones, I was able to fit 5 lotion dots in this lip balm tub. This is 10 milliliters. This would be great for putting in your handbag or your suitcase if you go traveling. So this was a really easy, really satisfying skincare recipe. And these are becoming very popular at the moment. So they would make a good product as well if you have a skincare business. If you've got any questions about the recipe, any questions about anything else, leave me a comment down below. And if you've made these, let me know how it went and what you think of them. It is so fun and satisfying popping them out of that silicone mold. I just love it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.